Parts Unknown. New episodes Sundays at 9 on CNN.
All right. President Donald Trump making it clear he wants a travel ban, and he wants the original one, the one that courts found targeting Muslims. His staff scrambled to say that the president's words don't count because they were on Twitter and thus not official. Now, that is absurd and raises the question of why the president would do this. Why would he undermine his own White House message, and how does this odd confusion affect governing? Let's ask Democratic Congresswoman and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. It's good to have you with us. There are a number of topics to discuss today, but what do you make of what happened yesterday? The big guns, Kellyanne Conway, Sebastian Gorka, going out there and saying, no, those tweets from the president, which took time and he was very clear about, they don't count. That's not policy. He didn't mean it.
Well, I'd like to hear what he has to say about that. I think, frankly, that what he's talking about is a complete disregard for the Constitution. And this is what the courts are about. This is about the balance of power. And here he is saying, even though the courts have rejected one version or another of what he has put forth, he's doubling down. He does succeed in doing one thing, it's keeping all the attention on him. There's so many things we should be doing, job creation and all the rest. Let's have that debate and the rest. But he just keeps bringing attention to him.
Why do
it's a tactic.
What do you think's going on? I mean, we've never seen this before. I mean, you know, the Obama administration had its problems with the media, but the idea of the president going out of his way to undercut the spin of the White House is unusual.
Well, it is unusual, but as I've said, if you want a job at the White House, know your blood type, because you're going to get thrown overboard at some point or discredited, and you see that happening. But I think it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to their reaction to him. But he doesn't care. As long as we're talking about him, good, bad, or indifferent, the attention is not as, for example, where's your jobs bill? It's 6 months into your term. Where is you've been elected, what, 8 months ago in November? Where is your jobs bill? That's what the election was about the future. And now all we're talking about is Donald Trump.
Well, you have some big issues coming up. The president actually tweeted this morning, to the extent that it counts, about his desire to meet with the big Republicans and get going on taxes and health care to get it right. What is your understanding of the progress?
From what I hear from the Republicans, that there hasn't been very much progress. But he should be meeting with all of us if he wants to make progress, because there are some anti-governance elements in the House, in the Congress, that are just never going to be for anything, unless it's so bad, and that would be very harmful to the American people. So that's the fight we have to make.
So 2 points of pushback in terms of the lack of progress. The first one would be, well, if the Democrats weren't so obsessed with trying to impeach the president and pushing the Russian investigation beyond the proof, you might be getting more things done on the governing side.
Who says that?
I'm saying it.
Well, gosh, they have the majority of the House, they have the majority of the Senate, and they have the White House any day of the week.
But the Russia investigation is dominant for good and maybe political reasons.
No, I don't think so. I think this is beyond politics. Russian investigation is beyond politics, and with the latest revelations, you can see this is undermining our democracy, our electoral system.
The actual hacking.
The hacking, the altering maybe, and the dumping undermined our election. So we should have an outside independent commission to study what that is. We have tried to say this is critical infrastructure. The Republicans have resisted that. But we must protect the elements, the mechanism of our elections.
Right, but the collusion argument, which a lot of Democrats state as a fact, like, oh, the collusion case. There is no collusion case. We haven't seen any proof. And again, I know the investigation's not over. We don't know what evidence they have or don't have. But is there some criticism for Democrats in seeming to want to force this to impeachment?
I think of the Democrats, you see Adam Schiff, you see Senator Warner and others. I think they're very measured. What I've said to members, the only thing that matters are the facts and the law. And that's what an investigation will reveal to us. I think we have to remove all doubt as to the impact of the Russians in our election. And I think it's important for the American people to know, what do the Russians have on Donald Trump, politically, financially, or personally, that he is standing in the way of this legitimate investigation as to the Russian impact on our election and to prevent them from doing it again.
But why do they have to have something on him? Why couldn't your own theory serve as a rationale, which is he doesn't like it, it's bad for him? You guys keep talking about Russia. It's a negative for him. It jades his victory, so he doesn't want it to go on. That's why he keeps opposing it.
The American people have a right to know the truth. And why would the Republicans stand in the way of the truth? Why can't we see his tax returns? But again, we're talking about him. What we should be doing is working on job creation in our country.
Now, to that point, and we discussed this during the town hall,
right.
The vacuum...
Glad you remember the town hall.
Listen, and it was a good night to have where people were able to address some of these concerns about the frustration. Let's say you're right and there is a vacuum of power manifested as progress right now on things that matter, whether it's infrastructure, jobs, tax. Why not fill that void as Democrats and say, we're not going to wait on him. Here is our jobs plan. Let's see what they do with it. Here are fixes to the ACA so he doesn't have to pull the subsidies and tank the current program in expectation of a bill that isn't there yet.
Well, two things. Let's with the second point first. The fact is that the Affordable Care Act is the law of the land. The president should be honoring the law of the land and funding it. And he is sabotaging it. He shouldn't be doing that. The most important thing that we can do is to make sure that the bill that the Republicans passed in the House does not become the law of the land, because 23 million people would lose their health insurance, premiums would go up, benefits would go down.
But if you don't have the votes, should you just lie in wait as opposed to moving to try and get a compromise?
No, we follow the lead of President Lincoln. Public sentiment is everything. We're taking this to the public, and the public is weighing in. The public is what defeated the bill the first time it came up in the House. The public is what's going to defeat it in the Senate in the form that it passed the House. So it's really important for people to see the distinction, and the distinction is to keep the focus on that. Do we know how to improve the Affordable Care Act? Of course. You think the president would have said, let's sit down and do that. First thing we can start with is prescription drug, the cost of prescription drugs. That contributes more to the increased cost of medical care than anything. We could have certainty in terms of the funding of the Affordable Care Act, which the president has placed in doubt. And when it's in doubt, the insurance companies say, we don't know how to set our rates, or we have to set them higher because we don't know if we'll have the cost sharing.
Uncertainty. The
uncertainty of that. We have to address issues that relate to young people to attract more of them into it. So there is any bill that has passed Congress, Civil Rights Act, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all of it should be subjected to scrutiny as to how it can be done better. But if it's being sabotaged, that's at his doorstep, and if the rates go up, that's at his doorstep because he has not obeying the law of the land.
Representative Nancy Pelosi, appreciate you being here. We know that there's a lot to discuss. Yeah. We have the big testimony coming up on Thursday after it. I'd love to get your thoughts.
That's right. And let's just say the president has said he's not going to stand in the way of Comey testifying. I don't know if there'd be a bombshell, but there'll be a door opening, and I want to make sure that there's no executive privilege for many of the people in his administration who could go through that door.
We'll see soon enough. Thank you for being with us.